Hey guys, good evening. It's me, it's Rich. It's 8 o'clock, and it's from Hank to Hendrix. Hopefully someone is going to join, so they can let me know whether or not you can hear me or not. I'm just testing, so it's a new sound kind of rig thing I've got, and I don't know if it's working. So hopefully someone's going to come and join me. Amy's here. How you doing, Amy? Can you hear me, darling? Can you hear me? Am I audible? Rusty's here. Wow, look at that. Blimey, I am honoured, and I've got more than one other person, because apparently going with two, which was me and someone else. So can someone give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? It's working. Fantastic. Lovely. Brilliant. So today is the 55th anniversary of the death of Jimi Hendrix, right? One of my absolute heroes. So tonight I'm just going to basically, we're going to chat a little bit about Jimmy, and also I want to show you and introduce you to some bits and pieces I've been working on for Patina Culture. Because, I'll start at kind of the beginning of it all. Is my dad and I both love Jimi Hendrix. My dad died about 2 years ago, and it was one of our real kind of connections and our real bonds. And on the second anniversary of his death, I designed something. I just started designing it and created what I shall show you later on. But while we're here, and there's a few of you on, and again, thanks very much for joining. Just pop in the chat, right? I can't play Hendrix music because the Facebook bastards will kill the feed. They'll bin the whole thing because of copyright. So if you can, grab yourself a drink, put a Hendrix tune on in the background, right? And let me know what you're listening to. If you can't do that, pop in the chat. What's your favourite Hendrix tune and why? And while you're doing that, I'm going to share what mine is. So my favourite Hendrix album is Axis Bold as Love. This copy is an original 1968, I think it is. I haven't got my glasses on, so I can't see shit. So you just have to bear with me. 1968 track copy in mono. So there you go. Originally, it was actually released in mono. It's not very good. The stereo is much better. Because one of the things I love about this album is it was in the early days of stereo, and if you haven't listened to this, have a listen to it. And the first song is a real kind of play around play with audio, and it's a play with phasing left and right, because kind of, stereo was a new thing. Everything else had been in mono and all there. And that's one of the things I absolutely love about Hendrix is it wasn't just about guitar. It was songwriting, but it's also a lot of technical innovation. Let's not forget that the guy actually built a recording studio in New York, Electric Lady Studios. Even though his recording career was actually very, very short, from like 1966 to kind of 1970 when he died, he achieved a lot in that time. And it wasn't just about the guitar. Yes, of course, he's a fantastic guitarist. There's lots of arguments to say, is he the best of best all time? I think it's totally subjective. It depends on your point of view, and also it depends on how you feel at the time, right? I mean, there's some incredible guitarists. Is he the best of all time? That's for you. That's for other people to decide. For me, absolutely one of the best of all time. Just such imagination, such ownership of the E minor scale. We don't need to talk too much about Hendrix's guitar, but his songwriting was beautiful. The poetry, and also the technical innovation in the way that he was doing it with him and Eddie Kramer, his studio engineer. They really pushed the bar on how you recorded guitars, because the only way you've got to bear in mind with when Hendrix played is he's in a studio and pretty much everything's turned up full. So you've got lots of distortion, lots of gain, overdrive. I mean, I imagine that you'd be stood in the next room playing it with the speakers coming through, because it's going to be fucking loud. And I would have loved to have seen him live. And this is one of the interesting things, because I first discovered Hendrix, and it's great that Dan's watching, because Dan Capel there is my best mate, and we grew up together, and I kind of discovered Hendrix through an album called Cornerstones, and I'm trying to remember if it came up before Wayne's World or not, because notice Amy sort of said, Foxy Lady because of Wayne's World. I mean, that was a real good introduction for our age group, my generation, to Hendrix. But there was an album called Cornerstones, and it just blew my mind. It was incredible. I hadn't heard anything like that before, and it set me off down this amazing kind of journey. And I remember listening to Hendrix on my headphones, and my dad he's like, "Is that Jimi Hendrix you're listening to?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Oh, I didn't know you liked Hendrix." And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." He goes, "Come with me." So we went down to his record collection, and he's like pulling Hendrix record after Hendrix record out, and I was just kind of like, "Oh my god!" And these were original recordings, and actually, I think that one that I've got there is my dad's. And it was just, one of the things that we really connected and bonded on. And then since then, when I've been buying records, one of the things I've always really wanted to do is actually get as close to the original recording as possible. So obviously that means you kind of have to spend a bit of money on Hendrix vinyl, but I don't mind doing it. Now, of course, all the re-releases are there. They've been remastered, and yeah, audibly, from a quality point of view, yeah, they're better, but they're not the original. They're not close enough to the original masters for me. I want to have second, third pressing, because I can't afford a first pressing. I'm not paying $2,000 for an LP. Sorry, dude. So anyway, that kind of opened up this whole world. And then when you start following around people who have been inspired by him, it's pretty much every rock musician born since then. Because also Hendrix was the first musician or rock star artist, whatever you want to call him, that I really got into who actually was dead. Right? So, yeah, I liked a bit of Elvis, but I kind of remember Elvis dying. I was young, he died in about 77, I remember it on the news. So we shared the planet together for a short period of time. But Hendrix died 70, I was born in 74. So we never shared this earth together. So he's not a chance of going to see him in concert. Everything that you had was either on tape or on LP. That was it. He was never played on the radio, ever. So you had to rely on, going out and finding Hendrix records, and they were fucking hard to get hold of. So, when we got them, we were like, "Hey, look what we got, I've got to come listen to it." You tape it for your mates, and, that was how you enjoyed that music. So it was special because it was rare, So when my dad pulled these Hendrix records out, I was like, "Oh my god, there are tracks on there I've never heard before. It's fantastic." It was wonderful. Now, you don't have that kind of joy. Sorry, guys. You don't have that kind of joy. So he's been a part of my life ever since then. And on the way, I've kind of collected a few really interesting things. So one of them is this guitar. Now, I don't play it that often, but I have a almost exact replica of the guitar that Hendrix played at Monterey Rock Festival in 1967, I think it was. Now, the reason this is kind of interesting and unique is because it's also got the copied on the back. Even the one that Fender produced has only got the front, doesn't have the back. And the back is actually, I think, is even more incredible than the front. Let me try and show you this. Because what Hendrix did is he painted and detailed and did all the kind of artwork on this guitar himself. And there is a point to this story. Before the Monterey Rock concert, and the Monterey concert was the one that really lit him up. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's absolutely beautiful. I only paid 200 quid for this. Can you believe it? 200 quid. My God, 200 quid. I know. So anyway, Monterey 67 was, anyway, as I'm going, please guys, if you're listening to this, share your experiences with Jimmy. Don't just let it all just be me. I'd love to hear what you feel. How has he influenced you? Has his music been in any influence to you at all? Do you give a shit? Of course you do. That's what you wouldn't be here listening to otherwise. So yeah, 1967. So there's a little bit of a story behind that one. Is the he wasn't at that time. He wasn't totally unknown. He'd started to break through. So the very quick history of Hendrix in the UK was he was basically spotted playing in a bar in New York by Eric Burdon, who was in the Animals at the time. House of the Rising Sun. It's probably the one that you know from them. Eric apparently loved him. Brings him over to London, introduces him to the kind of his musical set, which is like, Eric Clapton, guys like that. He blows them all away, and next thing you know, he's starting to play gigs. They put a band together for him, which include Mitch Mitchell on drums and Noel Redding on bass. Call it Jimi Hendrix Experience, and basically just start throwing him out there. And one of the early concerts he did was Monterey Rock Festival. And the story goes that the Who and Hendrix Experience were both kind of similar in their style, very energetic, very loud, very, rock, heavy rock, if you like, for the time. And they both had similar sets. So who was going on first? So the story goes that, they're backstage and they flip a coin for it. Pete Townshend and Jimi Hendrix flip a coin for who's going on first. And the Who won. Hendrix is going on after the Who. So story goes, he grabs his guitar, stands up on a table, plays some amazing, absolutely shreds it, and then says, we're going on after you, I'm going to pull out all the stops. And apparently it's that point that he decided to actually smash the guitar up and set fire to it. He didn't even plan it before then. So, goes on stage after the Who, plays an incredible set, and what's in rock and roll history at the end of it is he basically smashes the guitar and sets fire to it. And this is an absolute, pretty much dead accurate replica of that guitar. So, yeah, one of my most treasured possessions. So, leading on to the stuff I've been making, and how does that tie into patina culture and that kind of stuff. So, around sort of end of August, started thinking about my dad, second anniversary of his death, and thinking more about Hendrix, and listening to his music more and more and more and more. Got much more into it, and I was sat staring at this guitar, and I just started looking at. I it. I don't know why I hadn't actually looked at it before, and I started looking at the scroll work. Now I had this scroll work tattooed on my chest as a bit of a as a memorial to my dad, and had the scroll work done, and underneath it had the line from Voodoo Child, which is, if I don't see you no more in this world, I'll meet you in the next one, and don't be late. And yeah, that's just kind of like, as I sort of explained, a bit of a tribute to my dad, and just really a connection between two epic legends. But I started looking at it and started thinking, do you know what? I think that would work really, really well on a belt, on a piece of leather. Because one of the things that have been doing since the passing of my dad, and when things like that happen, they do rock you, as I'm sure you can understand. They do rock you. They change your perspective on things. And one of the things I wanted to start to do was started to create, a little bit drawing, bits and pieces. But I've always kind of liked connecting technology and art. I've always loved doing that. I've always been massive into computers. My degree was essentially in creative technologies. So I've always been into looking at how can you use technology to kind of create art. And so, very long story short, I bought a laser printer. A laser cutter, rather, with a view to thinking, right, what shit can I get up to in this one? I mean, it was pretty cheap for what it was. So I thought, what shit can I get up to? What stuff can I do? What mischief can I get into? So, let me show you my shop. Introduce you to my wares. Right, hopefully this will work. This already seems to be working a little bit better than previous efforts I've done, but we'll see. Remember, I haven't got my glasses, so I can't see shit, but hopefully you can see all of that, and hopefully this will work. There we go. Right, so, hopefully it's lit up enough. So what I did was I took that scroll work, and I started working on basically engraving it into the belts. And this is 3mm thick. Basically, it's buffalo leather. It's incredibly hard wearing. I've always loved a good belt. I bought my first proper belt when I was about 17. I had a Batman buckle. Actually, no, I was younger than that. I think I was about 15. Had a Batman buckle, 1989 Michael Keaton Batman, and I bought the belt to go with it, and that belt is still going, just about. And I noticed that people, basically, the belts that they wear tend to be bits of cardboard with some fucking vinyl over it. That's just shit. That's not good enough. Do better. Do better. Get yourself a decent belt. So anyway, I thought, you know what? If I engrave this onto that belt, it's going to look bloody awesome. And it does. It looks freaking awesome. So we're currently doing these, and I've paired them up with some really nice antique buckles. Now, I don't have many of these buckles. In fact, I have one less because one of my dad's dear friends messaged me and said, could you keep one of these belts for me, even though I was going to launch them tonight. And I can't turn that down. Of course I can't. So one of those is gone. Sorry. Done. So we have, these are the buckles that I have left. So I have this. Obviously I will be polishing them up using the skills I learnt in the Royal Navy, from this dullness to a high shine. Those skills were hard earned, by the way. I spent a lot of time polishing ship's bells because I was really terrible at getting up. So anyway, it's another story for you. So yeah, so bit of effort. Get a nice little shiny buckle, but these are old. These are actually, I think these are saddlery buckles. See, this is what they look like right now when I got them, and this is what they will look like. Probably even shinier than that, to be fair, once I have another go at these. So yeah, these are available on the website. Limited. This is it. What we got? 3. That's it. There'll be 3. So if you want one, jump on the website and get your order in, or just PM me and I'll help you out. The other thing that I'm doing that you might be interested in are taking my fashion to another level. Stripy trousers. These are also available for pre-order. Check out the website and yeah, get your size. I've got a few of these coming in next week. Pretty small. I think the sizes, I literally got about 2 each, and then we'll go for a bigger run after that. So, you know, this is early days in the business, guys, and you know, nothing worth doing happens overnight. It's all takes steps forward, and you know, you being on this call, on this, just listening to this, appreciate your support, and you know, mate, I'd love it if you just shared it to people who you think might be interested in what we're doing. So there we go. Right. Back to you guys. So, what comments we got? So yeah, so tell me any Hendrix stories out there. Anybody watching actually went to see him? That'd be cool, wouldn't it? So it's working. Oh, thank you. It sounds working. It's working. Dorian, hello. How you doing? Welcome. Toby, hello, mate. Tim, Mum, excellent. Remember the belt. I need a pair of the stripes. The stripes are amazing. So, yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll take you through the stripes. So, stripy trousers. I was going to save this for a different one, but I will tell you all about it. So, did you know that in medieval times, stripes were called the devil's cloth? There's apparently a passage in the Bible that says that thou shalt not wear a garment made from 2. Interesting. So, you know, I didn't know that the Bible had tips on sartorial elegance, but guess it did. And some pious fucker somewhere decided that what that meant is that you shouldn't wear clothes made from 2 different colours, which meant stripes were out. So if you wore stripes, you were either a criminal, a prostitute, or I think that was it, or a juggler. That was it, yeah. A criminal, a prostitute, or a juggler. Not entirely sure where the juggler thing came from, but I think it's because back in those sort of times, travelling circuses, etc., jugglers had devil masks and things like that. So yeah, it's always had the connotation of being the devil's cloth, which I didn't know. It's really interesting. And I can't take credit for being the first person I know wearing these. There's a mate of mine, G, in the Isle of Wight, who I first saw wearing these. I was just like, fuck me, they're cool. So I kind of nicked them. But what we're doing on these, slightly different design, is I put a cinch back in it. Now, those of you who remember Levi's of the 1990s, right? Levi's engineered jeans, they had a cinch back, and they fit. They were what called a relaxed fit. These are a relaxed fit, so they're the same length all the way down. And they fit so bloody well because that cinch back worked with the belt, and it brought them round your ass really nice and snug, you know, a bit of a bum hugging. And the belt, you know, the belt did the work holding them up, and the cinch back just pulled them in round your bum, made your ass look really nice. That was awesome. I liked that. So I'm like, right, okay. When my Levi engineered suddenly disappeared, I'll get another pair. Never saw another pair of jeans with a cinch back. Not in a million years. Never. Not since then. So I decided that when I got round to becoming a world famous fashion designer, I would put a cinch back into fashion. So these have got a cinch back. They'll make your ass look awesome. They are 16-ounce canvas. Hard wearing as hell. These have been through the washer about 3 or 4 times now. This is my test pair. And they're starting to fade. You want them to fade. You know, you want them to look a little bit lived in and a little bit worn. And I pretty guarantee you buy a pair of these will become your favourite pair of trousers. Black and white is the first style and colour that I'm going with. There will be other colours coming. There are other colours coming. So, yeah. Watch this space. But the black and white ones are available for pre-order as we speak upon the website. Also, other thing I'm doing, stickers that probably will be made into t-shirts. Need to vote which one's your favourite, because I'm not doing t-shirts of all of them. I'm going to do t-shirts of the ones that everybody likes the most. So, Democracy Manifest, Jones the Cat from Alien. So these are basically called misfits. Misfit mascots. So Jones the cat, right? Why Jones? Jones is okay. Jones is not okay. Jones is every time that movie when the alien turns up, who's there? That fucker, right? So no warning, no help, no support, no meow. Lassie would have been bark, bark, bark. Look out for the fucking big alien in the corner trying to kill you. Jones, no, left them all to die. Precious. What do we need? Come on. What I can't understand about that film is when she walks out at the end of the film carrying Precious, carrying the dog. Sorry, spoiler alert. I mean, if you're not seeing Silence of the Lambs, then tough shit, right? Precious is being carried. If that was me, I'd have killed I'd wrung its fucking neck. Dead. But no, Precious, bastard. Mr. Jingles manipulates poor John Coffey into giving him eternal life. Bastard. Artax. What do we have to say about Artax? Traumatized a generation. Even people now, I put this up, people were crying. I know, as soon as they saw the Instagram story about Artax, people were crying. I knew. I could feel it across the internet, That's why I cunningly designed this one, just to add a little bit more despair. Because, no horses were harmed in the making of that film, by the way, apparently. I think Artax died. So, yeah. So let me know which one of those you want made into a t-shirt, and I'll crack on with those. I'll probably do them all. But, Artax for the win. Precious was a shit. Mr. Jingles t-shirt. Mr. Jingles tried to get himself to Mousetopia. Didn't know it was a fictional place. Ends up living forever. It's a strange film, that one. It's a good film, though, but it's a strange one. So there we go. That's it for tonight. Thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate it. It's great to see, familiar faces, Dan, Mum, Amy, Dave, Tim, Dorian, lovely to meet you, Toby, TJ, thank you all for being here. Like I said, the biggest help you could do right now is just literally start sharing the stuff that I'm doing. More eyes on the brand, more eyes on the things that I'm doing, that all helps. So, appreciate that, so thank you. Alright guys, take care. Have a great evening. Speak to you soon. Bye now.